Hey everyone, Zach here, and welcome to the 60th lesson of this RTS tutorial series. I nearly forgot how these introductions went, so hopefully I won't screw it up too much, but in this video what we'll be covering is the second part of our support unit, and in this video in particular we'll have our support unit increase the damage done by our infantry units, but I'll show you how you can get our support units to provide other forms of support to the other units. That said, as usual, fire up your editor and let's get started. Hey everybody, so the first thing we're going to do in our editor is we're going to fix a small potential issue that might show up. Now this won't be an issue for everybody, it depends on the type of gameplay you want. But currently, when we send our infantry unit to attack another unit, it's actually not moving to the other unit, it's moving to where that unit is standing. So, in typical gameplay, if I take my infantry unit, which is not that one, it's this one here, and I send it to this unit, it's going to move, it's going to start attacking, it'll start doing damage at some point. There we go, it's doing damage now, and eventually it'll kill the unit. Now, I'm going to send them to this medical unit. I'm also going to make this... Oh, that did not work well. Let me try that again. Send the infantry unit a little bit farther away. Sorry about that. Now I'm going to send it to... Actually, I'm going to send them even farther away, just so I have enough time to do this. Now I'm going to send them to the infantry unit. I'm going to select that infantry unit, and I'm going to move where the infantry unit is going. And notice, our infantry unit isn't attacking it. There we go. It's attacking now because it's back in the correct range. If I move it out of range, ooh, well, it still kept attacking. So what we want to do instead, yes, you're going to get that error because that was still attacking a unit that was no longer there, is we are going to go into our player, and we are going to change in our infantry attack macro, which is the one I'm just closing now. So if we go down to your move to unit, we have what happens when our infantry moves to a unit and our regular units. Inside of our move to, for the attack, the infantry attack movement, get rid of the target location and changes out to target unit. So we're just going to start this up again, and we're going to move him farther away just so we have a little bit more time to play with. Get him as far away as we can. It's good enough. Send him back to this support unit here, or sorry, this engineer unit. Let's change directions, and you notice now that the infantry unit is changing directions too. It's met its minimum goal, so it's not continuing to track it. You could mess around with continuous goal tracking if you wanted. That does lead to some other issues, and potentially will be a topic we'll explore when we get into the AI design that we'll use in the last couple of sections of this tutorial series. So let's just save that out now that we've made that change to target unit. We don't need our... Actually, we do need our infantry units. Let's leave that open. Let's go back to our units folder. We'll need our support unit. And I do mean support. I'm not saying the wrong thing. And we'll need our unit master. And we'll start in our unit master. So we're going to create two new events here. So this will be custom event, and it will be start support, and then we'll have a new custom event which will be end support. Now I am only going to have the support unit boost the attack or the damage of the infantry unit. But if you want to make any other support effects, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to start with these two events, and it has to be made in the master. And this can be used, these two events can be used in any unit. I'm only going to be using them in the infantry unit, and I'll be calling them in the support unit. So let's just make them in the infantry unit real quick. Let's go back, so let's go to our infantry unit, let's right click, and this will be start support. That's the wrong one. Start support, and you want the event, not the function. And what we're going to do on start support is we are going to set a new variable, and this variable will be our support damage modifier. Let's just give it a proper name. It will be a float, and it will be equal to, let's compile because we do need to put a default value in. The default value has to be 1. And what we're going to do then is a random float in range. So a min of 1, so it has no effect at 1 to 22% increase in effectiveness. Actually, let's get 25. So 1.25. And then we'll do our end support as, again, the event there. And we're going to set our support damage modifier to 1. Compile and save. And go to your set damage. Here, this base damage modifier, we're going to add a pin in, which is why it had to be 1 as the default, because we're doing multiplication here. So 1 multiplied by x is just x. So either the support's going to have an effect. Sorry, either the support unit isn't there, so this is 1, and it doesn't change out the math for the first 2 bits, or the support unit's there and it has no effect, again, doesn't do anything, or it has an effect, and thus it increases the actual damage outputted. Compile and save. Now, we need to call these functions into play. So the way we're going to do that is on our support unit. If you go down to your on component begin overlap support entry, so we check, are we at the correct unit? So are we at the unit we've targeted for healing? If so, then do this. If we are not at the correct unit, is it a unit of our type at least? If so, then we're going to do something. Well, we want to have a couple of checks in here actually. First, it's not going to just be that. It's going to be an AND Boolean. And we want to know, is this other actor ourselves? Are we accidentally seeing ourselves here? So we're going to drag off and we're going to get a reference to self. And in fact, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this, put a reroute there, drag off of this reroute into there, and then do a self down here. Sorry, not a self. We want to do not equal to. What we want it to be not equal to is the self. So we're going to reference the self there. So are we equal to a unit type of any sort? And is that unit not us, not the support unit we're currently looking at? We then are going to want to figure out what this unit is and cast to it. So there's a few ways to do this. The way I'm going to do it is first I'm going to just create my cast really simply, which will be cast to RTS unit master, and it's the unit master. We're going to right click this to create a pure cast, and we'll take care of the object in a second. It will be our other actor, but let's just get some other things set up. We're going to promote to variable, and this will be our ignore that test I'm just deleting. That was actually what it was going to be. This will be our unit in support area. And we're going to just do this if it's true. The next thing we're going to do, and this is the reason why we haven't taken care of the object here yet, is just in sense of, to make sure this is easy to do, is we want to make sure that our target unit itself is actually valid. So we're going to do is valid. This time it's the function, not the one with the question mark. Put a reroute into there, plug that into there. This also becomes an AND statement. So not only are we at our target unit, is our target unit valid? And that's just because we don't clear our target unit for numerous reasons. We do clear our target unit when it's done healing, but we don't clear our target unit when we move our units. And that's because, again, we want to use target unit with our infantry, and we want to keep targeting units as it's moving. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring these up here, just line this up a bit neater. I'm not sure why I moved them all down there like that. There we go. Just get this all nicely and neatly organized. and then drag off this reroute and plug into object. And again, I'm just going to toss in a couple more reroutes to make it easier to read. So if this is true, then this is our unit in our support area. So we've got a unit. It's not our support unit, so it must be our unit in our support area. And if that's the case, well, then we can call start support. However, we now have a bit of a problem. It's now doing it for itself. Well, we don't have the function in here doing anything. So instead, it has to go to the unit that's in the support area. That target unit is the unit we want to have bolstered. So let's compile that. Let's go to our infantry unit real quick. Let's go to our event graph and just put a breakpoint on our start support. So we hit play. There's our support unit. Actually, hang on before we do that. I want to make one more change. Sorry about that. Let's change the box that surrounds our unit to be slightly bigger. We're going to set it to 6 by 6, and we'll leave it at 3 there because units aren't going to be that tall. Now let's test this out. Let's grab our support unit. And let's move it over to our infantry unit. Let's also make sure we only have the support unit selected. There we go. Move it over to the infantry unit. Oh, I clicked on heal the unit. Sorry about that. Let me try that one more time without accidentally selecting the wrong thing. Let's also make sure I only get that unit selected. Yes, I am still working on that error. Alright, there we go. We got the start unit support. It just had to be a bit closer. And it's all hunky-dory. It's running again because it runs a couple of times when it does this. There we go. In fact, we might actually want to increase the size of the box around the unit. But you'll notice something, actually, is that it doesn't get rid of that value because we haven't told it to stop supporting the unit. So the next step we need to have is we need to have it stop supporting the unit. So I'm putting a breakpoint in there for the test. Go back to your support unit, go to your event graph, and with support entry selected, scroll down till you find on component end overlap. Alright, so this will take care of if we move the unit out from early healing and if we move the unit out from a unit we are supporting. So we'll do a branch here. And again, we're going to check, are we at a unit we are healing? Sorry about that. Are we at a unit we are healing? So we're going to grab from our other actor, and we're going to check, is this equal to our target unit? Plug that into there. Move this down so we have a bit of room. That's the wrong thing. Right-click, type in target unit. You want to get target unit, because remember, this is coming from our parent, or the unit master. So if we are moving away from the target unit, then we're actually going to clear our target unit. So we'll set our target unit there. There's nothing there, so we're clearing it. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to have a branch down here that's going to check, is this unit equal to our unit in support area? So is it equal to? Plug that into there, put a nice little reroute into here. Is it equal to our support unit or area and unit in support area? Sorry about that. I swear I can speak sometimes. I'm not entirely sure when those sometimes are, but I'm sure they exist. So there we are. Are we our target unit? No. Are we a unit in the support area? Then yep. And what we're going to do is we are going to stop or reset support. What did I call it in the unit master? End support. It'd be useful to remember the name. End support. And again, it's not ourselves we're ending support for, it's the unit in that area. There we go. Alright, so let's compile and test this out. Go into our main window, select our unit, make sure that no one else has decided to come along for the joyride, and go there. All right, we now have a unit in the support area. We are setting our support. Let's go ahead of frame. We set it to 1.7, so we're going to do that much extra damage. This is going to happen a few times, unfortunately. All right, you got a better one at the end there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move the unit away from its target, or what it's supporting. So we're moving it away. There we go. End support. We're resetting that modifier, and modifiers reset. So, a couple of quick notes. Now that we have that working, first, this way I've been clearing this, you just want to use the function we have. If you're doing good object-oriented code, you're not passing anything through, so it's going to clear the variable either way. So the function, by the way, is the target unit. So get target unit. Because we're passing nothing in, nothing gets set there. It clears it out. I don't like doing that because it is less obvious in teaching. So in actual practice, you would want to use a function. Likewise, you're probably going to want to class one of these down to pure functions and use those as your checks. Finally, something that I wanted to point out again is if you want to say, let's open our harvester unit, you want to increase the speed they're going to harvest at. You go to your harvest area, which would be, I think it's start harvesting. There you go. And you would add in the modifier, say, to game speed or delta time or time harvesting. That way it increases faster, and thus they do more of a takeaway. Or you could say have it increase their inventory size. What have you. You just have to make those settings somewhere. But in your event graph, on your chart here, you would do start support, not as the function, but as the input. So start support, and you would pull off and do, the integer. You'd create a new integer that you'd want to modify, and you just basically replicate what we've done for the infantry unit for the other units. I'm not too keen on doing that for the other units, but if you want to, that is how you'd end up doing that. You can even make the box surrounding our unit bigger so that you run into less issues. There's a whole bunch of little things you can do. At this stage, if you've been following the tutorials, there's a lot of wiggle room for you to add things in that you think are appropriate. Alright, all of that said, in the next video, we will take care of having our factory produce special resources. This will lead us into spawning in or constructing our vehicles. All of that said, if you've enjoyed this series, make sure to hit that like button down below. It really does help me and this channel out, and I do appreciate it. And if you want to know when the next tutorial is out, make sure to hit that subscribe and notify button or buttons so you know when it is. That was really badly phrased. I am embarrassed by that. But hey, I'm not going to edit that out just so you can hear me make mistakes. That also said, I look forward to seeing you in the next tutorial. And I hope that you have a wonderful day.